Welcome back to another episode of Mysterious Knowledge. We have a special episode with a special guest. So we have me, Punky,
and Engkanto.
and we have Double A.
Hello, I have invaded.
Yeah. So for our listeners, Double A is our editor. She edits our show, and there's some bloopers that she has lined up that we are not prepared to release to the public because they are so awful. And yeah, you don't want to hear them. Honestly, there's times where I have sleepless nights over what gets cut out, and I can't stop laughing. But today we are doing a special episode, and today we are talking about ghost stories and our own personal experiences of the paranormal world. So, Double A, do you have any ghost stories yourself?
I actually do. I actually do have one.
Oh, just the one.
I have a couple.
Okay.
I know one for sure. I have a couple, yes.
All right. I mean, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. This was many years ago, and I was working late at my job, and there was myself and another manager present, and we had just finished up with something, and we were in the back, and we heard a crash, and it was crash, pause, crash, pause, crash. And to me, it sounded like a light bulb fell and broke. It was thin. It sounded like thin glass. And it was weird. And so we called out to see if anybody was back there, and no one answered. So we go and we look, and there was a at the end of the counter. So the back area is where the restrooms are, and then we also have a little kitchenette that houses our coffee. So they have a coffee makers there, and then an ice machine and a sink. And at the end of the counter, in a pile, was a heap of glass, and the glass was the sugar canisters, the sugar and creamer canisters, and they are the old school diner kind that have the bumps, right? And two of them were broken, shattered, and then one was not broken, but it was sitting on top of the pile of glass. And we didn't have any way to clean it up, so we just left it for maintenance because the cleanup crew is going to come around and clean up everything. And we left. Well, I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, well, stuff happens, whatever. Until 2 weeks later, and I was talking to whom I will refer to as her nickname. We called her Mama D, and Mama D was the one who did coffee. And Mama D had always cleaned out the sugar canisters and cleaned out the creamer canisters and stuff, and had always set them up to dry at the end of the night. And I had said, I came into the back and I saw her, and they had replaced them. And I made the comment, I was like, oh, they replaced them, the other ones that had broke. And she was like, she stopped and she looked at me and she was like, so were you here when they got broken? And I was like, yeah. And I told her basically what I told you. And she was like, there's no way they could have done that. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, they couldn't have rolled off the counter like that. I was like, why? She goes, because the way that she dries them upside down on paper towels in front of the coffee dispensers. And she's like, every time I've done that and I've tried to replicate it, they don't roll. They don't roll away because of the bumps. She goes, there's no possible way they would have rolled off the counter that far and landed at the end of the counter unless someone pushed them.
Oh, wow.
So she was adamant that There was no way possible that that they would roll off the counter by themselves. And I said no one was there. It was just me and my
Right.
manager, and it was just us in the building, and the other person that was there had already left. Like she had left, and we were the last two there, closing up, and security hadn't even made the walk around yet, so it wasn't them. And she was convinced that there was no possible way that they had fallen off the counter, unless someone had done it themselves.
And did it happen again afterwards?
It hadn't happened before, and it hadn't happened since then.
That's so random, though. Why it happened only that time?
It was a normal work day.
Well, and the fact that it couldn't be replicated.
And I couldn't figure out how just two were broken and one wasn't, because there was only two that were shattered completely, and the other one was. It was like set on top of it.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was weird. We never could explain it.
That's wow.
That would have been cool to see.
I told my manager friend that afterwards what had happened. He's like, yeah. He goes, I don't know. He goes, it could have been anything. And I was like, well, yeah, because no one else was there besides us. And I was like, no. And we heard 3 crashes.
That's wild. Those 3 crashes, but only 2 broke.
Yeah, 3 crashes, only 2 broke.
But here's a weird question, and that I'm going to raise there. Was there any type of CCTV footage of this at all?
They don't have cameras in the on the floor of where I work. There's no security cameras in, and plus it's like outside of the restroom areas, so there's no cameras back there. Yeah. It was weird. I ain't gonna lie. That was, and I didn't, like I said, talking to her after 2 weeks. She was freaked out. I ain't gonna lie. She was freaked out by it.
Wow. Just wow. Yeah. Punky, what do you have to say?
I've got a couple of them. So one of my freakiest ones was the first experience I've ever had. And I'll be the first to admit, I tend to be a skeptical believer. I'm the first one to say not every place is haunted, not every ghost story is accurate. You know, do I believe that there are ghosts? Sure. Do I think that every place they say is haunted really is? No. So I was working as a maintenance member, and the building was fairly new. It was only a couple years old at the time. And we had an alarm that would just randomly go off. Now, I usually chalked it up to either they couldn't figure out what was making it go off, whether it was a fuse, a short, who knows what, or they were too cheap to fix it. And I started joking around when the alarm would go off, and I'd be like, oh, Sparky's playing again. And it was just meant as a funny haha. I didn't know any stories about the location, had never heard anything. And still to this day, I've never looked into if there are stories about that area. So there may be, there may not be. I have no idea. But I got to the point when the alarm would go off or weird things would happen. I'd be, Sparky's out, Sparky's playing with things, and just went on about my day. Well, one evening, I was running laundry because this was a truck stop, and part of the maintenance job was cleaning and detailing the shower area. So I had my cart, and it's a regular janitor's cart. So it's got the yellow basket or bag with the zipper side, and I had it pulled up to this bank of washers and dryers. And I had the side unzipped because it was only like half full. And so I had put a load or an armful in, and I turned to get, the next armful of linens, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a form. Now, I was alone. I was the only maintenance on shift at that point. So I knew that there should not be anyone back there with me. And because I was halfway through emptying the bag, I hadn't actually stood up. I was half bent, and I just turned. So all I caught was like this body form. So of course I stand up expecting, a person to be there. And it's not any of the other employees. And what's wild is, like, I got this distinct impression more than a visual of like the old farmer type, the white kind of loose top, the breech style pants, and then the boots, like the knee-high boots. And I couldn't see a face. All I could tell was it was like early era farm dress, and the impression I got was probably like a mid-30s male. But I couldn't see a face, and it just faded. And it was like it was there just long enough to be like, yeah, I'm here. Never moved, like never stepped toward me, never, turned and walked through a wall, nothing. It was just, I looked around, and he stood there long enough for me to like see him, and then he just faded away.
So you were by yourself, and
I was completely alone.
Completely alone. Okay.
Completely alone.
Did you ever see them again? Or?
That was the only time. That was the first and last time.
So they didn't say anything. They didn't have a face.
Didn't say anything. It was more like, because the area was, I mean, we had lighting, but it was like a dimmer lighting anyway. So, I mean, it's a maintenance area. It's a back room. So if you figure like a back storage room of a store kind of thing or something like that, I mean, that's what it was. But yeah, like I caught, because I had been bent over getting these linens out of the bottom of the bag. Like I caught legs at first, and when I stood up, that's when I saw like the rest of him. But you know how they used to have the hats, like the wide brim? So what would have been his face was in shadow, like that's what was covering it.
Oh, okay.
So like there was no like facial features, but I could tell, like, he had a head, he had, but there was no like distinct features visible.
Okay.
So
interesting.
It was just, I think part of it was more just because I did do a lot of, oh, it's Sparky, Sparky's here, and it really was just a joke on my end. Like
You weren't thinking that there was anything of it.
Yeah, I was not
You were just
thinking
like,
that.
ha ha, this is,
Yeah, yeah. It was a fun excuse for the fact that the door was constantly setting off an alarm. And,
right.
because there was never anybody around when the alarm went off.
Was it a
Like,
motion detector alarm or?
Like delivery doors on businesses where it's like alarm will sound, if you open
what
it.
triggered? Oh, was a door opening?
Yeah, it was supposed to be when the door opened, it would trigger the alarm. And, like, the whole back could be totally empty, and this alarm would go off.
And the door would be closed.
The door would be closed. So, like, in theory, there was no reason for the alarm.
Right, because it was supposed to trigger whenever the door was open, not just by motion of somebody walking by. Okay.
Yeah. And I walked by it hundreds of times a day, and it would never go off. And, like, it could be totally empty, nobody around, and it would just go off for no reason. And you literally, like, I could be right there inside the doorway where I could easily 2 seconds and I can look out. Where are you going to go in 2 seconds? You're not. And there was nobody there, So it really wasn't something that I could explain. I mean, I could have my theories, like I say, a short in the system somewhere, or, but that was a little above my pay grade. So, I wasn't going to attempt to be like, this is what the problem is. And, they never got it fixed. So I'm like,
You just chalked it up having to deal with it.
Yeah. I'm just going to have fun with it. And so that's how I dubbed it. I was like, Sparky. Well, something in the wires. So that's how I got the nickname.
Did anybody else have those encounters that you knew of?
Not that I ever heard. I mean, I had a couple of people that were like, yeah, it's kind of creepy back there. But,
never, just vibes, not like experience.
Nobody that I talked to had ever actually seen anything.
Gotcha.
And I really think, sometimes that it really was more just like, hey, you may be poking fun, but yes, I am here.
Had that been a particular night when the alarm had gone off?
I don't remember if the alarm actually went off that day or not. I want to say it hadn't, ironically enough.
Gotcha.
I don't remember having it go off that day. And there really wasn't anything about the day that stood out where it was like, this is the day I'm going to just like pop out and be like, hey, I'm here,
It wasn't significant. It wasn't like a specific...
It was just another day at work.
I think you could work out a timeline of when Sparky was around, like, just what era he was in.
If I had to guess, probably 1800s. Like, it would have been early, like, when you really think of like the settlement era, the pioneer era, back when it was like, oxen and plow kind of farming and just that kind of vibe.
But at the same time, I mean, did anyone else see Sparky? I mean, I know people have spoken about him, but...
The funny part is he really wasn't a thing. Like, the occurrences were. The alarm went off. Everybody knew, the alarm went off randomly for no reason. That was happening long before I started. Nobody had given a name to it, like, for a reason or anything. I kind of started that. And nobody talked about like any type of haunting or any kind of sightings or anything. And the funny thing is, I never told anyone there when I saw him.
So now, Encanto, tell us about yours.
Yeah, I mean, I had two as well, and they're both about the same person. So it's going to be a bit of a sad one. So yeah. So Christmas time, at the time itself, my granddad went into hospital. And my granddad was literally my pillar of support for a lot of things. I was able to talk to him about literally everything that was going on in my life. And, you know, he literally kept me going so many ways. And I remember there was an argument Christmas Day between my mum and dad. Mum put out a Santa and a snowman as a salt and pepper thing. And dad asked mum, which one's the salt? And instead of just answering, mum glared at dad. And she just shouted at him saying, why don't you just test it out on your hand and find out for yourself? And that was it. I got I left the table. I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. My granddad's in hospital right now. He's in a bad state. It's meant to be Christmas Day. And she started shouting at me like, so, putting my shoes on, getting out the door and saying, where are you going? Come back here. Come back and eat at the table. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not. I can't do this right now. And I left. I walked to near this bridge where there's a park near there. And on the pavement, there was a sign there that said pray. Someone wrote it there on crayon, and I don't know why. I sat by a bench near the park itself, and I sat there, and I literally did what it was said on the pavement itself. I said a little prayer, and I said, basically, look, I know we're not on good terms, and maybe that will change, but for right now, I need you to take my granddad because he is not in a good place. And 4 days after Christmas itself, I was at work and I felt this bite on my ear and I froze. I was like, and I realized he had gone because that is his way of saying to me, I'm at peace now. And I had to take a moment from work itself. At that moment, I went into the back room, had a little cry, and everyone's asking me, "You okay?" I was like, "Yeah, Granddad told me he left." And they said, "How did you know?" And I said, "Because he bit my ear." And the reason that's such a big thing for me and him is because we saw the Tyson fight.
So you saw that. So you saw Mike Tyson bite that dude's ear.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I was like, as soon as you said that, I was like, that's like a Mike Tyson type thing. And then you said, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it so much.
We used to joke about, like, we played around and, like, say, Granddad, I'm going to bite your ear. And, he would try to do the same thing to me. He's like, oh, Jesus, child, don't do that. And so he did that. We joked. And a few days later, I was sleeping in bed. And again, I felt this I heard a voice, and I've I may be completely wrong in saying this. I think it said, "Thank you, grandson," and I couldn't. I was waking up, and I saw this face like right in front of me, and I screamed as loud as I could, and then I realized it was my granddad. I was like, "No, wait, come back!" And I could see like the sadness in his face, because he was probably like sad that I was screaming. But I was like, "No, come back. It's okay. I'm sorry. I miss you. I love you. Like, come back, granddad." And he faded away. And yeah, it hit me pretty hard when that happened. And never really got over it, I guess. But yeah, there is another story between me and him that I'll tell later.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was probably in my early phase, late 20s, early phase. Yeah,
Gotcha. Those types of things, they stick with you.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, definitely did. Yeah.
Did everybody else have any encounters with him like that, or was it just yourself that had that you're aware
No,
of?
no. As far as I know, it was just me. I remember coming home from work that day, and I got through the front door, and Mum said, you might want to come sit down. It's like, "It's okay, Mum. I felt him." And so, oh, okay. And maybe that shocked her a bit because I don't think she was expecting me to say that. But yeah, like me and Granddad always had that connection. I do have a third one, which I'll say later, which is a pretty scary one.
I know that Punky has another one. Do you want to go next? Do you want me to take the second one? Which do you prefer?
Go ahead and take the second one. Mine's kind of spooky too, so this should be interesting.
A lot of things happened at work, because I don't, that's just where I'm at. So it was at night, and we have motion detector lights in the building, and the lights stay on as long as there's motion. Well, when at the end of the day the lights turn off, and the only lights that are on are where they attract motion. So again, I'm at the end of the night, and there's me and my boss that are there, and we're wrapping up, and all the lights on one side of the room are off, and there's only like 2 or 3 lights at the front where we are that are lit. The security guard has not gone around yet to do their rounds. They usually make a lap through the room, and we see them, and then lights come on as they walk, right? But they hadn't come up yet, and it was still dark. So then we're sitting there, and it's, talking, and all of a sudden the lights start turning on one by one, and nobody's walking.
That's wild.
So they all start turning on one by one all the way around us.
Did they go back off like somebody had passed and,
After a while they did, because there was no other motion. And then they didn't come back on until after the security guard came.
There's not been I don't know, a reason for it, a way to say we found what caused it or something like that.
No, I mean, the only triggered by motion sensors, and they're built into the lights, and they work really well, because there's a master switch clearly for all the lights, but part of it is to save power. They start turning off in the evening time, so like the back of the building would be dark, and then only the people up front would have light, because that was the only part of the building that needed to be lit, is where people were active.
Right.
As far as there was once, we call it the morning people and then the night people. So the morning side of the building was all empty, and that's the part that was dim, that was dark. And then even in the back, in the bathrooms, there's motion sensor lights, and they lit up. It was, I can't explain it, but I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't have saw it with my own two eyes. I mean, if lights turn on and there's no one there, that's a little different. It's a little different.
Just a little?
Sorry, I didn't want to experience that, but it was weird. There was no, like, and other people had similar experiences from what I understood much later, but nothing had happened quite like that specifically. No, I mean, in that way.
Like, I'm sorry, Ghost, you didn't make an appointment today. Today is not your day.
Right. Like, I mean, I can understand, like, if it was a faulty, like if the motion sensor was off or something, but there was nothing that had been reported that it was faulty or messed with or even done anything with. So no idea. And it doesn't do that on its own. It hasn't done that purpose. I mean, that was an isolated incident that I'm aware of. So let's go. Let's be different. So I'm gonna be different today. I want to know what scary thing happened to you in Kanto. I want to know. Tell me what happened. Tell us what happened.
Okay. This was when I was in my early 20s. Like around 18, 20, early 20s.
1820. It happened around 1820, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Dang.
I spoke to Sparky that day.
Right?
It was you in the maintenance room with the candelabra.
Exactly. Come to fix all your like maintenance.
That's alarming.
I went back to that is.
But
oh sheesh. I was coming back from the pub with my ex-friend in now. And normally when we finish at the pub, I normally bunk at his house just to, just sleep there. Because, me and him were like brothers, basically. We're really close friends. And I just remember just laying there. I wasn't drunk because I was much more a case of just making sure he got home safely. So I was kind of like the wingman in that sense.
Right.
And I just remember just laying there on the bed. He went to the toilet. And there's no one in the room. Like, I heard the door close. I could see the door. So no one else was in there. And the lights on. The lights are on. I'm thinking, okay, well, it's all good. I'm just like, close my eyes for a little bit.
So the lights are on behind the door? Like you could see the light through the...
yeah.
The lights were on in your room?
Both.
Okay, so the lights were on outside and inside where you're at. Okay.
Yeah. And for some strange reason, and for the life of me, I cannot explain this. I had someone basically strangle me.
Oh.
And saying to me in a violent tone, "Get out of this house."
Oh, that's not creepy at all.
That's not terrible at all. That's like, okay.
My eyes were just like, wide open while this was happening. I was choking, like I was trying to breathe. I was looking to see like what's causing it. I could not see a thing. I could just feel the pressure on my neck.
That's messed up.
Insane.
Yeah.
You win. That's messed up. There's a prize for this. You win.
So did you like get out of there? Like, are you like, dude, I'm gone? Like what?
Yeah. I literally, as soon as I caught my breath, like, my friend came through the door. It's like, "You all right, mate?" It's like, "No, I need to go home." And it's confused. It's like, well, what's going on? Like, you look really pale. I was like, I'm sorry. Normally I'm cool with us, like, me sleeping over, like, like us going to McDonald's for breakfast and stuff like that in the morning, like, doing the bro thing and all of that. But listen, I'm sorry, I can't this time. I'm going to stay at my nan's house. And he looked really confused and baffled, and I couldn't tell him why. And I
Wow.
told him days later, and he said to me, "I never. That's never happened to anyone in the house. That's only happened to you." And it only happened that one time, because I went on to, like, like to go back to the house to try to just, you know, feel normal again, like, chill out at his house and sleep over, like do the bro thing like we always did. Never happened again. But it's just that one time, and it freaked me the frick out. I just had no idea what was going on. I was just like, to this day, even though I don't go back to the, because we're no longer friends, so I'm not being back to the house, it's still something that freaks me out, and just think to myself, what was that? What caused this? Because it just makes very little sense.
Yeah, I mean that's out
It's
there, bro.
intense.
Yeah, that's intense.
All right, so who's next with the next story then?
I think that would be Punky.
All right, Punky.
It is. I have a spooky one.
Oh,
At least it was spooky for me.
bring it.
Were you scared?
Uh, I definitely didn't feel okay. Um, so moved into a new home, and it was just, me and my family, my little family, and I had a new baby at the time, a couple months old or so. Moved into this house, and when I looked at it, I kind of had off vibes, but I'm like, you know, we can make it work. It's okay. It wasn't great. Like I wasn't super excited about it. But I was like, we could make it home. Mind you, at this point, I'd never encountered paranormal in any form
So
or
is this
fashion.
predating the first one, or is this after the first?
It is. It's predating the first one. The first one that I told, the first story I told, that was the first time I'd seen anything. So in this one, I never saw anything, which I think makes it spookier. Moved into this house, and by all accounts, it's an ordinary house. There was nothing special about it. It wasn't big, fancy, hadn't heard any stories about it. It was just a plain Jane house. Like, it really didn't get bad until after the first couple of days of being moved in. It felt off, but I was like, okay, there's no furniture, there's no, like, this place was empty. So I'm like, it's just not going to feel like home until, we settle. Got moved in, got things put in, furniture's there, all of that stuff. And like the first couple of nights, it was like, that new house feeling where you're just not settled anyway, because it's a new house. Like, you're not used to the sounds, you're not used to, you get up in the middle of the night and you're gonna stub your toe on the door jamb that's in the wrong spot. I chalked it up. It's just not my normal. But it got progressively worse. you ever had that feeling like you're being watched?
Mhm.
Ooh, that feeling.
Okay, now imagine that, but there's like nobody around, like nobody else is home. It's me and a little toddler child. I would be home, and it was okay during the day. It wasn't great, but it was okay. But as soon as it got nighttime, man, every light in the house was on. And I know that sounds like a song
It
somewhere,
probably is.
but kid you not, it is. But literally, I had every light in the house on, and I would not go to the back half of the house.
Wow.
But it felt like something was there.
Hmm.
It was just, you just felt like you weren't alone.
Mm.
Like you knew if you looked around, you were going to see something.
Did anybody else have that same vibe or just you?
You know, I can't answer that for sure. And here's why. Okay. Because, of course, I knew there was this feeling.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of company. I was I was, busy being a mom. I was busy, doing my life.
Right.
And but there the weird thing, super weird to me. Okay. Every night at 3 a.m. And I know everybody's going to go, "Oh, 3 a.m." I don't know why. I don't, for the life of me, I do not know why. I cannot explain this, okay? So take it for what you will. But every night, it was either at midnight or 3 a.m., never failed. And sometimes both, which was even worse. But it seemed to be more common at 3 a.m. The baby would wake up screaming.
Was like him waking up, he wasn't wet or anything, didn't have any.
It wasn't, yeah, it was like a terrified scream. It was just like absolute scream.
Wow. Now, was he in a separate room than y'all's, or was he with you, or he was not?
I had the crib in the bedroom with me for the longest time, and it didn't matter. And then we tried the living room for a while, and didn't matter. And in fact, it was such a thing that even after we moved out, he would wake up.
Has your first had that issue any more since then, or is that was the only time when he was small?
Nope, that was the only time.
Wow. Interesting.
No, it's wild because, like, we moved out literally right after my youngest,
Mhm.
and he slept through the night, never had an issue, but for like months, months and months and months, every night, this kid would wake up, my oldest would wake up, just terror screams. And there was never anything, because of course my first thought, new parent, kids wake up in the night, you feed them, you change them. Yeah. But that was never the case. That was never, that wasn't the problem. Because I could change him like right before I went to bed. I could, he could be totally fine. And he would just, and like clockwork. Like I could understand, if he woke up at, like 11 and then, the next night it's 1 but it was the same time every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Because like I didn't go to bed until like usually midnight, 1 o'clock. And like, I put him to bed at a regular time. but then I would be up and just have, that quiet me time. But, he'd be fine until, and like I say, it was usually 3 o'clock. There were times that it was midnight. And I don't know if it was just like, I had gone to bed early and something just was like, oh, let's, stir up a little extra trouble.
Right.
Or, what it was. Because, like, even if I'm setting up with me time, like, I had the living room lit and I was in, like, the front corner. Like, I didn't roam the house. I stayed, right in that one area. And, then I'd go to bed. And so I don't know if it was just like, oh, now we can have some extra fun and really torment, or if it was, I don't know. All I know is 3 a.m. was like the favorite time. But there were times at midnight but it usually, if it was midnight, it wasn't quite as bad. And then 3 a.m. and here we go again.
The fact that it was consistent, though.
Yeah. Every single night. And it didn't matter what I did. It was every night.
That's crazy.
And the fact that he was like, he wasn't in pain. He didn't act like he needed anything. He wasn't like, he was just distressed, terrified. He seemed like he was scared.
Yeah. And I know people be like, oh, kids wake up,
Not like that.
This kid does not give me issues, has never given me, like, he's a great kid. Like, he's never given me issues. That is the only weird thing that I can say has ever happened with him.
Wow.
I've never had a house where I have felt relief to leave that house and never look back. That's the only time I have been excited to move out. I have regretted moving in.
Yeah.
I've been by the house before. And even just looking at it, I'm like, biggest mistake of my life. I will never set foot on that property ever again. And the crazy thing, like, I talked to the neighbors while I lived there. Like, I was friendly with the neighbors. I didn't have any issues with people. Like, there was nothing living there that should have made me feel the way I felt, And it was this horrible feeling that almost like an impending doom feeling.
I mean, it's messed up to think of because, the neighbors, did they have an idea? Because, they're probably seeing a lot of people move out of that house probably because of the same reason, and they didn't say a thing to you at all. So
I never asked them.
So you never?
I never talked to them about it. No, I never asked anyone or talked to anyone about it because, what do you say? Nothing ever physically happened where I could be like, look, this is weird. It was just this feeling. It was just like I could be fine, like out and about. The minute I step in that door, it was like, it was almost like, if you sneak out and then you sneak it back in the house and you get caught and you're just like that, oh crap. It was that feeling. You walk in the door and it was just like, ugh. And mind you, like, this is literally my first paranormal anything. I liked a good ghost story. I've always liked a good ghost story. That was as far as my paranormal experience had ever gone.
You just didn't want to be a part of one.
I didn't expect to be a part of one.
It was
no.
not on your bucket list.
Yeah.
No. So, like, I just chalked it up walking through as, I mean, this is my first big move into a house of my own. I'd had an apartment in college, but that's college. That's an apartment. Like, it wasn't. I was alone, but not alone. Like I only ever really slept at my apartment in college. I wasn't like there all the time. This was my first actual like I'm home 24/7. Like this is where I live. I don't have anything, I'm not in class all day. I'm not out with friends. I'm home all day. So it was a different feel, you know. And so I'm looking at this place through a new lens of I'm walking through going, I can do this or I can do that, or this is going to be what I put here in an empty shell. Right. And then I move in and like I'm trying to do all this and it's just not happening. And it's like the more I tried to make it my own space, the more it just didn't like that.
Interesting. Huh.
So, yeah, it like I could explain away the feeling before when I looked at the place.
But afterwards it was definitely different.
Yeah.
Right, I got you.
Because I went into it very much like it's going to be good. Like this is going to be good. Like we're going to make this happen. It's going to be home. And it just never was.
That's not a home for anyone by the sound of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It really was. It was like, don't look out the window. Don't open the door. Don't go to the back of the house. Like, it very much, it literally felt like being trapped in your own home. And, like the first couple of stories we told, something happened. You had something, physical that you could go to somebody and be like, look, this happened. I didn't have that. All I could do was, I feel this, How do you explain your feelings are, I mean, they're real enough, but how do you explain your feelings to somebody who can't feel them,
Yeah, exactly.
There are experiences that you have that you just don't have an explanation for, and you're trying to explain it, and it's just doesn't make sense. Like even saying it doesn't make sense. Even when you're trying to explain it, you're like, it's almost like you have to show somebody, and then even then, it doesn't really feel like it gives it justice or really fully explains what's happening,
So I never told anybody because I was like, what am I going to tell them? It feels off. Not quite as bad as being choked. I will say yours definitely won.
Mine's just weird, and hers is vibes, and yours is no. Yeah. Yours is just no.
Exactly, completely. No. That's like no.
Not even. We're just gonna nip that in the bud right now. Bye.
Yeah, let's get out.
Right.
Run.
Well, I mean, did you?
Did you run?
I mean, I did it as fast as I could once I could, okay. But,
right. I mean, clearly you exited stage left, and you were like, nope. Yeah. No, you noped out.
This is not happening today.
Twice. Right.
This is not the day. I am not the one.
Definitely not the one.
So, out of all of this, how do you all feel about those types of scenarios, those types of things? Do you think they're real? Do you think people are just paranoid? Do you think that people just want attention? What you think?
I think it's a combo.
Yeah. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah. I definitely, I'll be the first to say not every place is haunted unless you're going to say it's haunted by the history that's there. Not to say it's a physical ghost, but every place has history.
Yeah.
Every place has a story.
Yeah.
And, that gives it its own personality. But that doesn't mean like the boogeyman's going to come out and get you every time you step in a place. So, like, I don't think every place is haunted in the way that we think of hauntings, you know. But I definitely believe that there are things out there we can't explain.
I mean, it's just there, isn't it? Really, I mean, you can't explain a lot of these things as itself, like how a sinkhole just appears and things like that. It's just the nature of life itself. I mean, these things just naturally happen, unfortunately, and there's not much we can really say and do. And in some ways, I feel the same way with the paranormal. There's some things that we just cannot ever explain and ever find a real reason why it happened the way it did, and we have to accept it. We have to be okay with it, to accept that this is life.
Yeah, I think there's a healthy thing of skepticism. I think it's okay to have that. I think that you weigh out those options, weigh out those things. Like let's be logical. Like I think sometimes logical explanations can justify a lot of things that have happened. Some things are that are mysteries that we just don't have answers to in some cases.
And I don't think we're meant to have all the answers.
I don't either.
No.
I don't think we should in some cases. I don't think we should have all the answers in some cases. I don't think that that's what we need to focus on primarily, you know? However, I will say on a different note, being that this is our 10th episode, has there been anything that you all have covered that you've particularly enjoyed covering for these last 10 episodes? Is there anything that you liked more than others? As your editor, I've heard all of them, but I'm like, I have my opinion, but I want to know what y'all's opinion is.
I mean, even to this day, I'm amazed at the Prosecco fire.
Oh, yeah. That one was intense.
Yeah.
I was not sure about doing that as a first one, but
I personally was I personally really loved the Amber Room.
Yeah.
That was
the Amber Room was fun.
Room was fun. I also liked I liked the Dogman story. I hated editing that episode. I want to let everyone know that I absolutely loathed editing that episode because I listened to that episode like for hours, like literally until we got the sound figured out. That was the bane of my existence.
I think that was one of my favorite episodes simply for the nostalgia of it. That really just is like a hometown, you know, this is part of my childhood kind of thing. And so for just that little bit, you know, I was a kid again. Like I was a kid sitting in my room going, oh my gosh, it's the dog man, you know. But like overall favorite stories, I don't know. The Howler is one that I hold. But yeah, I love the Howler because something about Appalachian history just hits a little different. And I mean, come on. You've got the mysterious Howler. You've got the history of the area. And then to be like, surprise, you know, there's actually an animal here. There's actually a creature.
No. Just no.
Listen, like my favorite part of that was Encanto's reaction to it because I'm sitting there editing it at like in the wee hours of the morning at, you know, and all of a sudden he just was like, what? It's so loud. It was so loud. I had to edit it out. Like you're only listening to the second what that he said because the first one was so loud I didn't want to bust y'all's eardrums. You're welcome. But no, that was
it was amazing.
That was funny. It made me laugh. But no, the Amber Room was the most interesting one. The one that was the most fun to edit uh, was probably the condensing runestone,
Oh,
because y'all
okay.
don't. So you have to understand that these people that I am speaking to right now do not understand how to do an intro. And every time they attempt to do an intro, the
God.
first 3 minutes of the podcast never actually sees the light of day,
Yeah.
because they don't know how to talk. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they're talking about. Like it is the first 3 minutes and the last 3 minutes are my favorite, because Punky doesn't know how to end a podcast. She doesn't remember her name. There are so many different endings that I have to, like, we're going to end it now. No, they didn't end it now. They ended it 15 minutes after they said, we're ending it now. And then they like to say the same thing like 5 times in a row. So I'm like, okay, we're not going to say this again. Or like, okay, we're going to not talk about this. Or like,
We're human. What
or
can
the
I
third
say?
like I said, there is a third person that does co-host with you all. And that's traffic. That's the traffic in Punky's recording. And I just want to let you know that is from Punky's side of the fence. Her side of the mic that likes to record the traffic. So they are also part of this podcast, as you will verily probably hear in this one. And as I have attempted to edit out those types of things, however, I am, I do what I can. So if you hear the car whiz by, it is not because Double A didn't want to edit it. It's because Punky talked through it, and I can't.
I can only do so much.
I mean, so let's land this plane before we go off into tangent time and give Double A more headache. Thank you. we have an Engkanto aircraft. We're on the Engkanto Air.
I mean, I was gonna ask Double A, is there any episodes that you felt that you wish you could have jumped in on?
Or that you want to jump in on?
I don't know off the top of my. I think probably the Big Cats episode. I had some questions about that. Yeah, the Big Cats one was interesting to me.
It wasn't the train, was it?
The train was different. The train was a little. I had some questions about the train that didn't get answered, by the way. But I did have some questions about the train. So the train one was one, and I think I will say that done a little research on the Amber Room. That was the most interesting. I will say the Amber Room was probably the most interesting. So I have actually looked up some stuff about that and seen the pictures of it. So
yeah, it's a really unique.
The Amber Room is pretty cool.
Yeah, the Amber Room was. I didn't even know that existed. So that was a neat thing because I heard the Dogman story before. Punky had christened me with that a long time ago. So your reaction to the song actually was hilarious. Because she made me listen to it too.
I literally had no idea.
And I've also made suggestions. So there are episodes that I have about ones we want to do that I have thoughts about. So, but dear listeners, please let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section. We need engagement. We have no comments. We need some comments. I need you to put some stuff down in the comment section below. Let us know that you're listening, because we don't know. We need to know that you're listening to these lovely humans.
Yes.
And I hope you enjoyed listening to my nonsense.
And share your stories.
And I will say, like any sort of thing like that is really helpful. Also, listeners, let us know if you want to hear the bloopers of some of our ramblings that you don't get to hear normally. And if you would like to hear it, I'm sure Double A will find a way to bring it up. But yeah, we really appreciate Double A being here today. It's been absolutely amazing just to have you on here. And we really hope that you can come on more episodes as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate being on this side of the mic. So I also have to edit out my own voice as well as y'all's. But Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind popping in every so often if you need me to. Just let me know.
We definitely will. We definitely will. Punky, do you have anything else you want to add to before we wrap up?
If you've got a story, feel free, share it. Obviously, we've told some of our weirder ones, so, and, you know, we may just do this again at some point. So don't tell us we're all alone in the supernatural spooky realm.
Please, no. Please. I can't handle it.
So we all know that Encanto's going to sleep with the lights on tonight, right?
Yes. Yes. And on that note, I think we should end it there.
Oh, thanks for listening. And we hope you had fun with this.
And thank you again to Double A for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll speak to you on the next one.